Welcome to Glow Up or Get Out. In today's episode, we're going to go over some questions we received on maybe 2 videos ago regarding starting a small business or starting a business in general. As you may notice, or maybe you don't, we've been gone for a couple weeks. It might have just been 1. For us, it seems like 2.
Yeah.
But we had a couple family emergencies happen. And, we just had to take the week off, and now we're back on track. So enjoy this episode.
Let's get right into the question, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, question number 1. What advice would you have for someone who wants to start their own business but is somewhat conflict averse? I can foresee that for a business that provides a service such as cleaning, conflict or disagreement with customers or clients is highly likely, and someone like me would be reluctant to push back or hold my ground. This is something that holds me back from starting a service business.
Okay, I have a question. Does this mean that this person is so reluctant, like she wouldn't?
I think it's like So if someone was to say you didn't clean, like
you didn't clean well.
Yeah, you didn't clean well. They would probably be like, oh god, conflict, I'm scared.
Or
like,
yeah, you're right.
I don't want to deal with it. Yeah, like okay, sorry, here's your money back or something.
Right.
I think that honestly just comes down to confidence again and just like knowing your worth.
Yeah.
And of course, as much as you can prepare for situations like that, like knowing how you would respond if that were to happen.
Yeah.
So for the cleaning business, maybe that's okay, I understand, but like these are what the things we agreed to. This is what I provided to you. Let's take a look at that contract again and like send me photos or show me what wasn't to your likings and hopefully I can improve on that in the future and maybe offer a discount so you keep them as a client. Like there's ways to go about conflict that don't have to be like a screaming match or like angry aggressive. It can be fine. So yeah, I think if you're conflict averse, maybe try just preparing yourself as much as possible for situations like that.
Yeah.
Because they're bound to happen, but they're rare.
They are rare. Yeah, I think very much what you said. I think at the same time, you should also be open to critique and realizing that sometimes these conflicts, as you may see them, may not necessarily be conflicts, but just like a learning lesson for you to understand what to better yourself in. Or, like Sam said, this is the time not to necessarily like stand your ground, but just kind of gauge like an understanding of where maybe the expectations lied beforehand.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to have like a not a guideline, but like having
contracts.
But I feel like for a cleaning service, you wouldn't necessarily have a contract. So there's like certain types of businesses where like a formal contract doesn't necessarily like fit. But this is why you should have like in written or like text, just like have something like a guideline of what your expectations are, to, like what expectations they have that you need to meet. That way you understand like this is like the goal. And then if they have a problem with what you've done already, that's when you go back to like, okay, back to the cleaning example. You told me to clean the bathrooms and the kitchen, especially the stove or whatever. And if she said, I don't like the way that you cleaned the stove, then you guys can talk about the way that this stove was cleaned, like, and what difference they would like to see. And then, like you said, there's a way to go about it afterwards. So, like, aftercare of, like, taking care of your clients, meaning you either give them a discount or you try to rework the expectations of what was originally...
like how you word things or how you describe your service to your clients.
Right.
It's a learning lesson sometimes. And sometimes people just suck, but...
yeah. And then you get those, stranglers that just are just really not nice. And those you could leave. Yeah. But also leave them nicely so that you don't end up having enemies.
Yeah, I would say, I think if you're super conflict averse or just like in general, I feel like having a contract for any business is beneficial though. Even if it's informal. Like you said, formal contracts might not make sense. Like you lay out every single little detail.
Like a signature or whatever, yeah.
But more so just like, these are the services I'm providing. I'm cleaning the kitchen, the bathroom, blah. And then sign it.
Yeah,
like
just having
quick.
Having like a layout of what you're expected to do.
Yeah.
Just simple. But yeah, I think that covers that question.
Yeah.
The next question, it says, do you have any thoughts on age and starting a business? You're both very young, but what about someone in their 40s or 50s? Is that too late? If not, what advice would you have for someone that age in that age bracket?
Number one, you're never too old.
Yeah, you're never too old. I feel like there's never a right or wrong age to start a new adventure. Although definitely people in different age groups are going through different
there's different
adversities and barriers. So, maybe if you're a single mom and you're in your 30s, but you're alone and you're trying to start a business, that might be a little bit more difficult than someone starting a business who lives at home with their parents,
Yeah.
The conflicts and the boundaries that you have, or is that the right word?
The difficulties.
The things that are setting you back.
Boundaries, the
boundaries?
Barriers.
The barriers. The barriers you have can vary, but I don't think that there's a wrong age to start anything.
Yeah. I think if you're in your 40s or 50s, you have things that we don't have.
Right.
You have experience in whatever it is, the business you're starting in life. Just everything. So you have more than what it takes to start a business compared to us. I mean, of course, there's the other part where it's if you're trying to get into marketing at 40, 50, or modeling, you need to know your niches and
being very
calculated,
analytical about where you're starting.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible. That's what we're getting to. I think that it really does matter on what your strengths are and how you're going to go about it. But yeah, age shouldn't be a barrier for you.
Yeah. For how do you break out of that and get into your business?
Yeah. I think that's dependent on what you're trying to do, but I think in general,
like anything else, fake it till you make it. It's probably, depending on what you're doing, it could be easier to fake it. If you're doing consulting and you're in your 40s or 50s and you've done something for your whole life and you have, proof of that, whether it's jobs or life experience, then you're set up. People will trust that. It's like nannies. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Old nannies. Young parents are comfortable hiring older nannies rather than a young girl, because it's oh well,
they
know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Not like the Cat in the Hat nanny.
Oh my goodness, she was just a sleeper row in the fucking closet. But yeah, I think just realize your strengths and just play on them, You might think that you're maybe a little bit too far out to now have a business, but I don't think that that's true, because you, like we said, probably hold some type of knowledge that we don't, also maybe more trust from the general population.
Yeah.
That because of your age, that you might look a little more trustworthy versus us who are in our 20s, fresh out of college almost, and people don't really think that we have the knowledge or experience that it takes to be doing this.
Right. Last tip on that I have would be inspire yourself. Look up people who started businesses later in life, because there's definitely success stories.
So many.
Yeah, I think, isn't Bill Gates one of those people?
I think so. I think he started in his 40s. It might be
Girl,
wrong.
I don't know. Somebody did. So just look up people that started businesses later in life, because it's never too late.
I always use the example of Anderson .Paak. He didn't start being a incredible, well, not that he wasn't an incredible musician, but he wasn't acknowledged by the public until his 30s. Not he didn't start really late, but he was just acknowledged later. So it's sometimes also it just takes a long time, The
next question: how do you cope with the risk of failure? Would your answer be different if aged older? I fear there is more to lose at later stages of life than when young. Do you agree, or am I just overthinking it?
Okay. Well, I think number one, it really depends on your outlook on life, because I think that life in general should never stop at a certain point just because you're getting older. Your entire life there's risk for failure. Sure, maybe when you're older there's a little bit more to lose if you have a mortgage and a family started already. But at the same time, there's not going to be, unless you're completely fuck my job, I'm going to just do this full time now. I think that there's some way to work around those like barriers that you have, like we said earlier. Not necessarily like, do you have to just full blown do something right now? Like you can start slowly and get yourself there. But anyway, like you should not feel like you can't do this right now because you are at a later stage in life than we are.
Yes. I mean, do you agree, or are you just overthinking it? I think we all overthink things a lot, which is totally fine, and that's valid how you feel. But yes, you may be overthinking it.
I mean, listen, I am 23. I am working a full-time job while doing this. Because of that reason, I not necessarily have a lot to lose, but I have rent to pay, I have a dog to feed, and, you know, medical bills and stuff like that. Like, I have some of the same things, and I feel like that's why you just need to, like, weigh your options and change your perspective and kind of just go with something that, like, allows you to do both.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the overthinking aspect is good, though, because it's good to be over-prepared rather than under-prepared. So if you're asking these questions, then obviously you're not going to be one of those people who just jumps into something and is like, oh.
Lets everything just go downhill.
I think, just being smart about it. But how do we cope with the risk of failure? And would it be different if we were aged older? I mean, coping with the risk of failure.
Failure is inevitable.
I think you just don't think about the failure part until you get there. Like, say we did, like, this, like, things have happened where we've had a client and they didn't like it. That could be considered a failure. But instead of us thinking, oh, we failed at that, it's like we learned from that. Yeah. And we're going to keep it moving.
Yeah, definitely, like, changing perspective on what failure means.
Yeah.
There's this one TED Talk that I watched. It was about failure, and this guy said you should be eager to fail versus, like, scared to fail, because it means that you're getting closer to the thing that you're trying to perfect. Mm-hmm. And when you look at it that way, you shouldn't be scared of failure. I think in that case, you should really welcome it and not force it, but, like, force yourself to be in a place where you're constantly, like, ready to go and changing the way that you do your business, because that's the only way that it's going to be perfected and you're going to start making money and being successful.
Yeah. If we were older, I understand. I feel like our perspectives would be, like, a little more fearful of failing. But I think that it's like, I mean, what is failure to you anyways? Like, is failure just a client didn't turn out well, so that's failure? Is failure like your whole business goes under and you failed? Because even if that happens, there's safeties in place. Like, you go into things like this with safeties in place so that even if you fail, you're not just, like, dead in the water. Like, you have safety. So, and like we said, changing your perspective, you learned something from that, and you'll probably start something else with all of the knowledge you learned from that experience. There's, like, a lot that could go into that. I mean, I wish we had better advice if you were aged older, how our fear of failure would be. But hopefully our young, ambitious minds inspire you to, I think, push past.
Yeah, I mean, also the fact that you're gaining a perspective from a younger crowd, I think that is really a good mindset to go into, because just like when I think about me being a kid, I thought the world was literally, and like I can be anything that I wanted and I can do whatever I wanted. And that still remains true, whether or not I believe it currently. But the thing that changed was life, and life gave me experiences that made me fearful of, like, failure and, like, those other things that I can't do, supposedly. Yeah. So I think it only gets a lot more intense as you grow older. You get more fearful of risk. And so I think reminding yourself and looking towards a younger perspective also can be very helpful and make you realize that that is still a possibility for you, whether or not you, like, feel scared about it. Yeah. Like, it's still possible and it's never too late, you know?
Yeah. Especially if the people you surround yourself with are more your age group. Like us, we hang out with people mostly in our age group. But when we sit down and listen to somebody who's older than us and hear their experiences and stories, like, that also still inspires us. So it's good to get other perspectives.
For sure. This question says, Where do you draw a line on being willing to negotiate a price for a service with a customer? Is it better to be firm or open to negotiation? When selling a product, you could say, can't negotiate, as that would mean the price is below cost. And people understand that, but it wouldn't be easy when selling a service, as it's your labor that is being sold and the value thereof is subjective.
Right.
This I feel like was a very difficult point for us, and it still kind of is, like us learning how to correctly
Put a price on our heads.
Yeah, because, like you said, labor is definitely something that our labor is like what we're charging for, but also like our experience and our knowledge and our skill sets is also another thing. So for labor, the way that we've done this is first we like set an amount of time that we think this service would take. So for us, let's say a certain project takes us 8 hours. Now, when we think about like how much labor that is, I think we like set an hourly rate to that. And then we obviously create like 8 hours times $30 an hour or whatever.
Times
and then
two, because there's
times two because there's two people. And then that's like one of the parts of the pricing. And then you have to think about your experience, your knowledge, and your skill sets that also go into that pricing, as well as materials that you're using. Because, for example, we have a service, but also we might need equipment stuff, or we might need props and, locations. Like things like that also add up. So we start to like slowly put that in.
And those are things that you can absolutely explain. Like if someone is to say, I don't want to pay that, that's ridiculous. One, you can say, okay, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Two, and nobody should say that to you. It should be more of a conversation. If anyone comes up to you and says that, you don't want to work with them.
Yeah.
Number two, you can explain these things. Like, we have college degrees in X, Y, and Z, whatever. We have this many years of experience doing this many years of experience doing this. We have this equipment that we have to pay for, these props we have to pay for, we have to drive this place. We're young and give you a perspective on this, which you're not currently getting. We clearly already have new ideas, blah, blah, like whatever. Like, there's things that you can say, and that's all you can do is prove your worth. Yeah, it does suck that services are a little harder to prove, but that's the name of the game, proving your worth when you provide services.
Also, I think you need to be very confident in the things that you're offering and just state them in a way like, sure, negotiation's fine. I think that that's a wonderful thing to think about and be prepared for. But at the same time, like, start saying, this is where I come in at. And then if they have a question about, okay, what if we did it for this price? And you'd be like, why do you need it at that price? Like, what is it about my pricing
that you're transparent?
Yeah, like, what are you fearful of, or what are you like questioning with your concerns? And I don't know, give me an example.
It could be, I'm a startup and I don't have any budget for social content, because that's what we do.
Okay.
So let's say like my budget is low and I don't even know like how to know whether you did a good job or not. Like, why am I paying this much if I don't even know?
So then there you would say, okay, these are the services I offer. I have a degree in this. I am an expert at, let's say, Photoshop or like analytics or whatever.
This is my portfolio.
This is my portfolio. These are the clients that I've worked with before. This is how much engagement I've given these past clients. I gave them a full set of whatever, and it helped them reach a certain number. Like,
they sold X amount. Like, giving people hard
which also comes with like asking for data and like things like that.
Testimonials.
I'm trying to think of like in other services that aren't consulting.
Yeah. I mean, I think testimonials for any business.
Yeah.
Because then
testimonials really help. But even like when starting with your first clients, you might have those same questions, and I think it's just a matter of
something we've done to sort of prove our worth would be like free stuff, like giving away small free things, like free consultations, or like your first, like, businesses do this all the time, like your first order free or your first shipping free, like depending on what you're doing, product or service.
People love free stuff.
Yes.
And it proves them that it works.
Yeah.
Also, with that in mind though, like, don't, like, if you have a cleaning service, your first time shouldn't be for free.
Yeah.
But maybe say like, I will give you a discounted price this time, and then if you like my service, I'll continue and we can do full price or whatever.
It's like Ryan's Roses. Like, oh, we just started and we're giving away flowers for
Not
the
Ryan's
local community.
Roses.
Tactics, you guys.
But yeah, like
They're there.
getting to the consumer or the clients in a way that like builds trust with them. So like that is how you don't necessarily have to negotiate so much anymore because you've already proven your worth from the beginning and the get-go.
Yeah.
Like it's there.
I want to give an example. There's this place called Smoke and Fire in, I think it's La Habra, technically. But they just opened, like, during quarantine. Like, during COVID,
What are they?
opened. It's like a hot chicken place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like Raising Cane's, but hot, and it's sit down. But their marketing, incredible. Like, everybody in the surrounding area that, like, lives in the surrounding area got ads on Instagram. And when you got in, there was, like, a special deal. The food's amazing. There's vegan options.
No way. And now we have to go.
And then they have, it's like a special, though. I think they, like, rotate them. But, and, like, they just, like, they bring in that community, because there's nothing in that area, but they bring in that community to have something, like, cool and nichey. There's outdoor seating. Like, the other day we went and they had, like, a Nacho Libre, like, painting done and, like, an Anchorman painting. Like, they just,
So good.
yeah, and they just, like, cater to their niche, and then they have, like, this challenge where if you eat, like, the spicy whatever, you get, like, a belt and you get on their wall. Like, it's, like, this whole thing. And they're opening, like, 2 more locations. Already? Like, a real estate developer came in, liked the place, ate
and
the
was
food.
like, let's make you a franchise.
Let's make something.
That's so cool.
Anyways, but yeah, that's just, like, a really good example of, like, working to get going. Like, starting strong.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with setting your price as a service. It's more proving yourself, proving your worth, and they did that.
I think it is better to, I think, like, the question is it better to be firm or open?
I think firm.
I think being firm, yeah. But definitely, like,
Not being, like,
this is my price and that's it. Just kind of, like, understanding where this person's coming from. If it's just, like, attacking and being like,
you're too expensive.
You're too expensive. Why are you too expensive? And then be like, well, this is what I offer. Like, if you don't want it at this price, it's totally cool.
Yeah.
Just read people, you know, because I think it's very...
Some people are trying to take advantage of you.
Some people are trying to take advantage, but other people really can't pay for you, but really want your service. And so, like, maybe you can get something out of it. There's an example that really pissed me off. In our case, one time, I was trying to help a friend, actually. And in this case, like, this friend just really... The way that they went about asking how legit we are or whatever was like, what did you guys major again in? And it's just like... We're talking to you and giving you a plan and steps on what to do next already. Like, we've already given you that for free.
Yeah.
And now you want to ask us about whether or not we're legit and capable after we've set a price with you? Like, that's ridiculous. I don't think that's, like, fair. That's very insulting. If people are insulting you when asking whether or not you're legit, I think, like, that's when you just kind of call it a quits.
After already taking information from
you.
There's
a... Yeah, exactly.
Know your boundaries when it comes to negotiating.
Yes.
Like, say in your own head the lowest you would possibly go for whoever you're working with.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Confidence in starting a business. You two are both clearly very confident and certain about both yourselves as well as what you do. What advice can you give to someone like me who is exactly the opposite? Example. Shy and eternally uncertain about themselves.
Girl, that's me too. The fuck?
Yeah, I mean, ooh.
It's funny that we come across that way because...
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to, like, yes, I think we are very confident and knowledgeable, and obviously we know what we're doing to an extent.
Yeah.
But, like, there's always trial and error, so, like, even with networking, like, when COVID's done, we're gonna be the shyest little girls in the room. Are you kidding me? Like, there's things that we're uncertain about and we haven't experienced yet or tried to do yet together, so we're gonna have to perfect those things.
Yeah.
And be uncertain for a little while. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So advice, I would say, like, put yourself out there. Like, put yourself in positions where you can be more confident. Whether that's, like, just, like, honestly, this whole, like, question thing, I feel like you're being confident in, like, knowing what you want to do, like, in yourself, whether this is a show of confidence to just us or to the whole world. Like, I don't think it matters. Like, you're being confident in knowing what you want to do and asking about it.
And being specific. Like,
Yeah.
I think that already shows that, like, you are almost, like, there. You know, you just need, like, the extra push. And I think we're here to be like, do it.
You can do it.
But listen, like, I think, for example, for us, I think we're a very dynamic duo just because, like, I'm very much like you. I think I'm very shy and internally, like, just uncertain about the future and myself. I'm consistently changing things and thoughts about myself. And Sam, I think, is, I mean, maybe to herself, she doesn't seem that way, but I think, like, I see her as a very, like, steady, like, certain person that, like, really knows who she is and, like, knows what she wants. And it's, like, cool to bounce off of each other in that way because maybe, like, not that she's ever too confident or anything, but, like,
Girl,
maybe.
probably.
But maybe, like, I bring certain, like.
Humble qualities.
Not even just humble, like, what's the word? Like, when approaching, like, a client or something, like, maybe I have the perspective of, like, in case this doesn't work, you know, like, this is plan B versus just being like, plan A is going to work. You know what I mean? Because, like, it's good to have that both. But if you're just doing this alone, I think also, like, maybe just finding, I think that really helped for us. Did that make sense? A thing that really helped us was having a mentor in the beginning. And I think that is, like, something everyone should have because it's almost like a backbone to your confidence. Like, if you're ever in a position of, like, being like, okay, I'm not really sure if I should do this, like, maybe I need more information, just like you're looking for information here, having someone in your everyday life that you can just contact and be like, hey, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think I should go about it this way? Does this look good? Yeah, all that, like, if you have that kind of a person to, like, bounce those ideas off of, I think that that's super helpful and it'll maybe gain more confidence for yourself because you know, you might be seeing it one way, but someone else could be like, you know what, like, why are you even asking me? This is amazing. Like, you just go ahead and do it. So I think finding people in your life that don't necessarily have to be in your business with you, just that can help you, you know, bounce those ideas.
Different perspectives.
Like the perspectives.
They can have the consumer perspective, or if you know someone who owns a business themselves.
They can help you out with some tips.
Yeah. Like, honestly. And we're here for any questions you have. I mean, we might not be, like, mentor material quite yet, but, you know. Like,
more than open to talk about
anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I feel like especially if you, like, your love language is words of affirmation and you need that reassurance in your life, which sometimes can be toxic. But for businesses, I think it's always good to have reassurance from whoever it is. Like, your freaking partner, your business partner, your parents, your grandparents, whoever, just to say, like, what do you think about what I'm doing? Like, do you think I'm on the right track here? Like, would you buy my service or whatever?
Yeah. And that will really help you just gain that extra level of, all right, I can do this, you know.
Yeah.
Last question. You are two well-educated, intelligent, and eloquent ladies with good business smarts. But being frank, you are also both very pretty. How do you deal with business situations involving someone who has something other than business outcomes in mind? This question does not relate to me. I am just curious given your respective gorgeousness. I will keep watching and hope these questions could be worth your time in responding. If not, thanks anyway for making these videos. I find them very useful and don't get why you don't have far more views as you deserve them. That's really kind of you to say.
Very kind.
We really appreciate that. This question's kind of funny. I don't know.
It is kind of funny.
I feel like we haven't reached...
Well, we also work with mostly women.
Which is great. Like, I think that's part of,
that's
like...
our mission there.
Yeah.
Working with other women-owned businesses. But we have worked with a few
men. I don't think they've ever been creepy or weird.
Trying to take any advances or anything.
Mm-mm.
Which is nice, and we know that's not the case for everyone.
But I feel like at some point I think we're going to have to deal with that. And it's not that we haven't thought about it.
I mean, how do you deal with it? I think it's just about we both will be able to read those situations. And I feel like we'll just weed them out. Like,
yeah, I think
really hone in on the business aspect. Like, just being like, okay, so does this price work for you? Or, you know, it depends on the situation, but just really honing in on our business, what we're actually offering. And if they can't get to that, then we leave.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're like both I mean, we're like boss women. I don't think that in this situation, this man, we're saying man, maybe it could be a woman. I don't fucking know. They're a little too forward about certain things. I don't think we would sit there and be like, haha, yeah, like, oh my God. I don't think we would just allow ourselves to be like spoken to in a certain way. I think we wouldn't shut it down like, hey, you need to fucking stop or you need to stop. But I think we would say, like she said.
Which is annoying because we should be able to do that. But
also at the same time, there might be a chance that you can switch this person's thinking into being like, okay, no, they're serious. Like, let's not fuck around.
We're like, we're still about the money. Okay?
Like, it's like a curse and a blessing that we would do that because I think at the same time, we're still trying to like be a business and we have like, I mean, at least I have like this thought process about like customer service and I don't want to disrespect anybody.
Yeah. Especially if that's not their intentions and you just misconstruing it.
Yeah.
Depending on what's,
But
happening.
You know what? Some people are really creepy and I don't know. Yeah, it's just like trying to revert back to like, okay, let's just talk about business. Like, let's not
like you're
go
sweet,
that way.
Or
it's like, oh my God, thank you. And then be like, okay, well, speaking of this.
Speaking of how beautiful I am.
Speaking about beautiful, let's talk about your page. How do we make it beautiful? Alrighty. These were some very specific questions, as you can tell. But I hope that they generally gave some advice or help. We appreciate you listening and having feedback. Like, this is feedback to us, like going into more detail about certain things. Yeah. Love that.
Honestly, we want to do more of these. So more questions, roll them in, guys.
Going. But yeah, if you still listening, just kidding. We are going to be just having a quick little COVID update, just life update, quick chit chat in the next segment. So we'll see you in Glowing Hour.
Come back in action. Today, Mel has graced us with some whiskey sours.
They look awful if you can see. Yeah, that was...
Okay, look.
Look, first of all, I'm vegan. Can't do no egg whites.
Yeah.
Tried some aquafaba. Nothing happened. There's just some aquafaba juice sitting in here. Don't know how that's going to be.
And we've never made one, so it's...
Yeah, we also put cinnamon in it because it's...
The holidays.
The holidays.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not upset.
Me either.
I don't taste aquafaba anywhere.
Alrighty.
So, we just wanted to jump in, talk about COVID again, since things are rising once again in the US of A.
If you're listening other places,
might be a different situation.
And you're probably lucky.
But maybe you want to hear what's going on in LA County. I don't know. Maybe you're curious.
Maybe you're curious. Yeah, it's getting bad, guys. There's currently a what do you call it?
Stay-at-home order?
Stay-at-home order.
As I'm in your home.
She's here. It is really only me and Logan, and other than Sam, we don't really see anybody else.
Yeah, it's just my family,
So it's more like me and Sam are hopping from two houses that we live in,
Yeah, like the show must go on. We're being safe. That's pretty much all there is to it for our personal lives. I mean, to an extent, I guess, like the business, again, things are taking hits. People don't have money for marketing, especially places that rely on in-person.
Right.
Like restaurants or things of that nature. So, yeah, so there's a stay-at-home order. Our curfew's like 10 p.m. or something.
Yeah.
And no more restaurants, outdoor dining?
Nope.
I don't know. My sister went to Elbows in Brea.
Well, that's Orange County. And Orange County doesn't listen. Not talking any smack over there, but they are refusing to believe that COVID basically exists and don't.
As a county.
As a county. I'm not saying people.
Yeah.
But, the people do live in the county, so.
The people do have a decision. Yeah, it's a lot more lenient in OC. I don't know. Did we write the book before we started the podcast, or right when we started it, or before?
I think it was before, like right before we started our podcast.
We'd written a book.
If you guys don't know or haven't seen it, it's in our bio on our Instagram. Also on our, never mind, on our website. It's currently under construction. But it's on our bio. You can go download it for free. It's just a quick little guide on how to stay up to date on like your branding and your marketing in general. Just a quick like refresh if you're also already like really far into your business, cool. But we also give you small tips depending on like where you are with your business, whether you're just launching in the middle of it or like fully successful.
Yeah.
Just quick reminders or like tips that could be helpful in these times.
Yeah,
to kind of help you continue your successful business.
Yes. And it is a free resource, so I would take advantage of it. It's super easy to read. We have graphics in it, and we've gotten some really good feedback on it. So if you own a business or want to,
check it out.
It's like it's free. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Get in on that. But yeah, I mean, just I guess revisiting some of those points that we talked about in the book and COVID-wise, it's just all about positions.
Positions for you. Switching them up. Keep your position in mind of what you're currently doing. Be empathetic and sympathetic towards your consumers and also just the world around you.
We talked about things that you need as a consumer during this experience. So obviously masks was like the first thing that started popping off. So that was a good strategy for people who started with that, like kitsch. They really leaned into that. Experiences that your consumer is looking for. So now there's drive-through experiences for everything and like COVID safe, however safe you think they are, but COVID safe activities.
So 2 big things in our first chapter, which was about COVID specifically, where we're building authenticity and trust with your consumer. And this is basically stating keeping your consumer in mind based off of like what they're currently going through, how you may help, also how can you better assist them during this time, whether that be like certain deals or, you know, charitable work, that kind of stuff. And then there's also like the social awareness aspect of it, which I feel like most of the companies now are being very on top of that point, whether that being enforcing certain safety precautions or having a certain influence on their consumers and like acting in a safe way, I guess. I don't know, I should say that.
Like staying in business in a safe way.
In a safe environment, which like all the things that Sam said, like adapting to a certain like protocol now.
Yeah, staying up to date with protocols, changing your business hours or your seating, whatever the case is. And then as a consumer, supporting smaller businesses if you can, because those are the ones that
are getting hurt right now.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people are doing a good job of that, especially product-based.
Yeah.
But if you are a small business that's product-based, I would say invest in your marketing during this time because people are shopping online mostly because malls are closed. So do your best to do online marketing, ads on Instagram, having promos on shipping, taking cool campaign photos, hire us.
Get yourself some Mel and Sam to help you out.
You know, we're a small business too.
But get yourself tested, guys. If you need any free testing, if you're in LA and you need some free testing sites, check out this company called Curative. They have free testing whether or not you have insurance. It's the one that's at the Dodger Stadium that everyone goes to, but I don't recommend going to the Dodger Stadium. I went there for testing last week and I was there for 2 hours waiting in line. They have a lot of other places. I think it's just like people know that the Dodger Stadium's open and don't want to do more research than that, but that same company does it a bunch of places in LA.
Is that the nose
and
swabs?
It's the mouth swab, which people have their opinions about how effective that is or how accurate it is. I think it's fine.
There's a lot of conspiracies in general about the testing.
Dude, no, my who was it? Someone went to test and they missed their date for some reason. And a day later after the test, they got a call or they got like a message that said that their test was positive. And she was like, I didn't even take the test. So how is this possible? Like, who took my test? And that's sketchy because
it's like, what's the miscommunication there?
Yeah. But then there's like stories like me where like I've gone tested like now like 4 times and they're all negative. So there's also the news of antibodies now, guys. You can go and get your blood drawn and get tested to see if you have antibodies.
What have you been doing? during COVID to stay busy? I don't know, just gives people the ideas.
So I think, like, in the beginning of COVID, when it first hit, like, in March,
Bro,
or I guess February, because that's where it was when it started in Seattle, and I was in Seattle, so it was getting crazy in February.
You were locked up.
Logan and her sister and I and her boyfriend, we were all on this kick of, like, yeah, we're going to take this time to be, like, healthy and do all the things that we want to do. And that happened for a minute, and then we moved, and now I'm just, like, a lazy fuck.
No, don't lie. We did Chloe Ting for a month.
Yeah, but that wasn't... Yeah. Yeah, I guess
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like a month and a half.
I feel really awful now these days. So I think I want to reset everything. And no, this month, like this week. I want to start waking up in the mornings and doing yoga again.
I know. We were doing so well for a second.
I don't feel good in my body anymore. Not necessarily like physically. It's just like I feel kind of like sluggish. And I haven't stretched my legs and like my body in general in a really long time, and I feel very tense. So that is something that I want to do, and I feel achy and I don't want to feel like this. So stretching. I want to drink less coffee, which
okay,
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yeah, come on.
And then journaling. I really want to get into my journaling again and just take this since we're like in an actual kind of more lockdown now, take more time for myself and like really hone in on that.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, we were doing the Chloe Ting thing, and then life hit the ceiling, and I stopped working out. Like, I was trying to get into, like, I told myself 3 times a week at least, I'm going to do at least 2 videos or something, or at least 1 video. And then life hit the fan, and I was like, oh,
that's not.
I'm going to put that on the back burner.
Yeah, I want to get back into that too.
So, yeah, maybe I'll start that, but not this week. I feel tired.
Yeah, same.
But I feel tired because I'm not doing it, so.
Yeah. That's also like...
It's just a big old mess. Big old mess. Yeah, I think starting with a sleep thing. Because I went to bed late last night, like 12.
Yeah, same.
It's not okay.
No.
Like, I need to go to bed at, like, 10.
Logan and I started, like, the waking up early thing. We woke up at, like, 6:45. No, 7, I think. Which, like, is not that... It's relatively not that
it's
early.
Like a normal early
It's
time.
like a normal early time, I guess. But we got up. I was so fucking sleepy. I could not, like, get myself to, like, feel normal until, like, 9 a.m. And I didn't fall asleep. Like... I didn't fall back asleep, so it made it only worse.
Yeah.
To, like, stay up. It was just a mess.
Yeah.
I have no energy lately for anything. On the positive, I feel like I'm out of my depressive episodes, so that's great.
We're on the up and up.
And we're up and up
Ladies
until I'm down again, so...
Shut up. That's not even. You don't have
That's
to
how depression works sometimes.
Well, it can be a short
in episodes.
Down. It can be a short down episode. Like a day.
Yeah, it could.
I've been watching lots of true crime, playing Candy Crush.
You still haven't watched Lovecraft Country, huh, bitch?
I watched 1 episode.
Yeah.
And Christian liked it, and I said I have no idea what's going on.
You need to watch it again.
He was like, that was like really good. And I was like, I was playing Candy Crush.
Bitch! Catch up because that shit's good. I recommend 10 out of 10, guys. Lovecraft Country on HBO. If you got HBO, I know it's expensive. Worth it for the show.
Just binge it. Do the free trial. Watch The Undoing.
Literally.
Big Little Lies. Euphoria. Wait for Euphoria to come back out.
Pay for that. And then pay for those 3 shows, and then you can maybe just clock out for a little bit.
Yeah, and then come back when they come back out with more stuff.
Yeah, I think working out is like the biggest one.
I'm excited to Christmas shop. I'm going to be spending a lot of time on our website.
Oh, that's another thing.
We're going to be doing lots of YouTube video tutorials on getting better at Wix, because we just upgraded our site, and it's exciting all the things you can do. Truly.
I'm
trying to remember us, like, in the first episode we did. Maybe the second one, because the first one didn't even hit YouTube. It was just on Instagram. It's technically the second episode. We were just, like, so excited. Which, like, not that we're not excited now, but we're just, like...
Dude, we recorded the first episode 3 times?
Girl, we recorded 4 times? Like 4 or 5 times, I think.
Because we had, like, 3 versions of one of them, and then the first time we recorded, the sound wasn't on. I remember that.
Okay, I think the first 3 times we recorded, we were like, I don't like how we said the story. Like, I don't like how we explained that. Like, that didn't come out cute. We should do a reaction.
Yeah, we
like,
should.
Just a YouTube video, like, not our podcast or anything.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
We should. Okay, stay tuned for that. But I think that's it for
today's
episode.
We have really nothing much to talk about.
We'll probably pre-record a ton of episodes since it's the holidays. But yeah, let us know how often you want these, if you want more of them, if you want less of them. We'll see you guys in next week's episode.